Hi, this is Kent, and this lesson is called Going Beyond the Blues Scale, Part 1. The basic blues scale that most people learn in the beginning is this one. I'm going to start on C, so this is the C blues scale. So there's a lot of tutorials out there right now introducing that C blues scale, as it's usually called. And you create a lot of riffs off that, and it's a good one to fall back to when in doubt. Go into that C blues scale, assuming of course that you're playing in the key of C. Whatever, those kind of things. But the problem is, after you hear someone playing blues piano and all they're doing is that blues scale off of any of the chords they're doing, they're just superimposing that same blues scale over the whole progression. Like I said, that works as a good fallback, but after a while it can get just a little bit monotonous. So what I'm going to do here is go beyond the blues scale to show you some additional notes that you can throw in. And this is part one. In part one, I'm introducing your first batch of new notes. It's based on another scale called the major pentatonic scale. If I play the major pentatonic scale on C, that's these notes: C, D, E, G, A, and C. These are some new notes, plus there's some other ones that are shared in common there with the original scale. So actually, here's the original scale. And here's the major pentatonic scale. I'm going to give you a couple examples of if I actually combine those two. So you have to think that I'm superimposing these two scales together. Kind of playing some slower riffs here so you can visualize the fact that I have this scale in the picture. That's our new one. I also have this scale in the picture. So what if I combined all the notes from the two scales? That would be all these. Again, slowly. In future videos, I'll be showing you riffs that kind of come from combining those two things. I'm not going to really get into that right now. I really just want to introduce you these new notes. A couple ideas, that come to mind when you combine the two scales would be things like something like that, or this famous one here. These two notes here come from the major pentatonic, and these two come from the minor blues scale. If I do something like this, and if I slide off like this, I'm taking my index finger here, my fourth finger here, and I'm going to actually hit those very quickly and slide off with the same two fingers onto the other two notes like this. In slow motion, it looks like that. This is in slow motion. But if I start here and I slide quickly up to these, it's going to be this type of sound. So these kind of things that I'm playing right here, you need the notes from the major pentatonic in order to pull this off. Stuff like that. There's endless possibilities, and you can see though that we have, this extra note here, especially the E natural. That comes from the C7 chord, and that's going to be a great one. Now, in closing on this part one, I got to tell you that there's a very important idea here if you're playing blues in the key of C in this example, that note I mentioned, the E natural, that comes from the C7 chord. That's the first chord in the regular blues progression. You know, so there's that E. It's really important here that when you go to F, this would be F7 here. It's not a good idea when you're in the F chord to be using that E natural. You really need to honor the movement going from the sound of the E natural down on C. Then you got to switch to E flat. So that sound of going from the E natural down to the E flat is extremely characteristic of the blues sound. That's that movement from the C7 chord to the F7 chord. Now, when we go to F, make sure you're hitting that E flat and really avoid the E natural. Okay, so that's the end of part one. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.